Here.
It is another mystery of the deep. As hopes fade for the 5 wealthy Titanic tourists who vanished while exploring the wreck aboard a mini submarine, one question keeps arising. What happened? It is possible that no one will ever know after the sub, called Titan, suddenly went silent hundreds of miles off the coast of Canada and around 13,000 feet underwater beside the Titanic. On board was a British billionaire, one of Pakistan's richest men and his son, a famed French explorer, and the CEO of the company running the dive. They began their voyage early Sunday with 96 hours of oxygen inside the sub and have not been heard from since. Submarine experts agree that 5 possible accidents are the most likely cause. Perhaps the most obvious explanation is that the submersible became tangled in the wreckage of the Titanic itself. The ship split into 2 pieces as it sank back in 1912, and those sections now lie amidst a huge debris field on the seabed. Navigating the wreck is extremely dangerous, according to those who have dived it. It is possible that the sub's pilot got disoriented, perhaps after communications were interrupted, causing the craft to get snagged. Another explorer has described how a sudden undersea current swept his submarine into the wreck, getting it temporarily stuck. Titan is equipped with drop weights, which can be thrown overboard to give it extra buoyancy, potentially freeing it and helping it float to the surface. But if it is stuck, for example, inside the Titanic, there could be little the crew would be able to do except wait for help. A banging noise picked up on sonar could be the trapped crew knocking on the hull of the sub to attract attention, but rescuers have still been unable to find the craft. Titan could also have suffered a power outage or equipment failure. The sub relies on batteries to power the communications, and a failure could explain why it lost contact with the surface. But they also power the engines, the lights, and the heating. A catastrophic failure would have left the sub dead in the water, in complete darkness, and in freezing temperatures. If that is the case, experts say the cold could kill quicker than the lack of oxygen. Questions have been raised over the quality of the sub after one passenger pulled out over fears the company building it were cutting corners. He discovered that scaffolding poles were being used as ballast and a video game controller was being used for steering. After that, he demanded his money back. An OceanGate engineer also previously quit over safety concerns about the structural integrity of the sub, and an industry body wrote a letter in 2018 criticizing the company's experimental approach. Losing power would make the sub harder to find, and there will still be the matter of getting it back to the surface when its engines aren't working. They may still be able to surface, but there is no sign of the vessel yet. Alistair Grieg, a professor of marine engineering at the University College London, said rescue options will be extremely limited if the sub is without power.
Why is this such a big thing? Here's what a vacuum implosion looks like. So it's a big thing because rich people are very important. And this is rich people activity, okay? And they did that. They went on a submarine journey. I think it's like, what, 250,000 per head or something crazy like that. They went down into the depths, into the Titanic to see what was going on down there, I guess. And ultimately, it was a disaster. It's like this kind of stuff is I guess, entertaining and scary for people. And his stepson is going bananas mode on Twitter. Yeah, I heard. I saw some of the stuff. But I don't really understand. I mean, there's like people that were also diving with them, you know what I mean? The viewport that lets passengers see outside the craft was only certified to work in depths of up to 1,300 meters. That is far less than would be necessary for trips to the Titanic, which is nearly 4,000 meters below the ocean's surface. If Hassan goes to Tokyo, it's okay. If a couple dudes just want to explore the remains of the Titanic, then it's a problem. I just don't understand how, like, this wasn't something that they accounted for. Like, this is what they do. Craziest part about this is the Titanic fandom. CBS News interviewed this lady a few years ago who cashed in her life savings to go down there. She even went through 3 canceled trips or some shit was commonplace. Scrub launches. That's wild. James Cameron did this trip 33 times. Yeah, James Cameron is like an experienced diver. An awesome TikTok about the situation.
With these billionaires in these tubes, huh? We got a billionaire or other rich people in a tube, a sealed tube. Look, because they want to see the Titanic? You can just rent it on VHS. It's a 2-cassette VHS tape, my dude. These billionaires got a tube to go look. They paid $250,000 each. $250,000. Some of you don't understand the concept of that amount of money. That is an okay house in Ohio. That's how much they just paid. They handed a guy, okay, and they got inside of a I cannot stress to you how they're like, it's a submarine, it's a submersible, it's a tube. It's a sealed tube. It's riveted shut. You cannot open it from the inside. It has no windows. There is one button and there's a screen. You're not even looking at the Titanic with your own eyes. You're looking at a screen that has the camera pointed at the Titanic. And the guy running the company is so dumb that he didn't even think to just fake going to the Titanic. You want to get $250,000,000? $250,000 from a billionaire. First thing, have a tube. Remember Elon? Remember Elon and his submarine idea to get those kids out of the cave in Thailand? You know, when he called the guy a pedo? That whole thing? Elon's smart idea, by the way, tube. Jeff Bezos, we're gonna go to space. He built a tube. It's all tubes with these people. Every billionaire is obsessed with tubes. So if you want to rip off a billionaire, here's what you do. Hey man, we're gonna go to the Titanic. Oh, that's great. Hop in my tube. Ah, no, there's no windows, but you can watch the TV screen. Lower it down, like just under the water. And make sure it jiggles. Oh, run into some undersea turbulence.
Okay, normally I feel like he yells a lot, and you know, his commentary is fine, but this video, or especially like this video, or especially the takes specifically revolving around the tube being lowered to a certain degree and then like faking it like you've actually gone down into the Titanic, I think is a great take. Why didn't they just lie?
Turn the screen on. Play the beginning of Titanic. Pull it back up and go, there you go. There you go, billionaire. You saw the Titanic. And here's the thing about billionaires. Nobody tells them no. Everybody says they're so smart because billionaires just drop money around them all day. The only time they care about the money when they're dropping everywhere like idiots is when it goes to taxes to help us. So now they spend $250,000 to get into a tube, and now we have to spend millions of dollars on our navies of 2 nations to look for these goddamn idiots who just should have watched a VHS tape that was okay from a movie that is so old that Leonardo DiCaprio wouldn't date it.
I want him to be found because I need to know if they succumb to cannibalism. I mean, they're dead. Like, it would be legitimately shocking if they were alive by the time they find it, if they even find it at all.
Hi, my name is Stockton Rush. I'm the CEO and founder of OceanGate. Let's take a look at Titan. So we're coming into the sub. This is...
My friend in Turkey just bought that controller a couple months back because it's cheap. That should say a lot about their safety protocols. Yeah, these motherfuckers are using like the cheapest Logitech controller they can. Like, I think using controllers of that sort is normal process for a lot of this shit, which is, I guess, surprising, but I don't know. I trust Logitech. The controller did not fail. Anyone blaming the controller is not a true gamer. True. Xbox controllers are pretty popular. They detected banging as of an hour ago. Maybe they brought AAA batteries with them instead of AA batteries. Why can't I watch the video? I mean, yeah, the search mission is still going. I mean, they're billionaires, of course, they're still going. These are like the most untouchable people in society. You know what I mean? These are the people that are not supposed to die, right? These are the people that are not supposed to have these kinds of issues. I mean, if you're dropping 250 bills to go down there and see the goddamn Titanic, and then, you know, this kind of shit happens, is a bit wild. So, Michael Guillen was the first correspondent to report live from the wreck of Titanic, but his recall of the vessel he was on nearly ended up trapped. Dr. Guillen was working as a science editor for America's ABC network. He told BBC4 Radio how they toured the bow where everything had gone well. So people have talked about their experiences here. Let's watch this like promotional video from this.
This is the only toilet available on a deep diving submersible. Best seat in the house. You can look out the viewport. We put a privacy screen in, turn up the music, and it's very popular. We have our control screen here, our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case.
Well, okay, that's a bit crazy. Like, you watched that and you were like, this is my shit. Death by Joy-Con drift. I mean, this is crazy.
Our sonar screen here, and we can put any image we want in the back. We've taken a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want to go back, you go back. Turn left, turn right, go down, go up. And it's Bluetooth, so I can hand it to anybody. And it's meant for a 16-year-old to throw it around, and super durable. We keep a couple of spares on board just in case. This is the second year we've been out to the Titanic. We went out in 5 8-day missions. We did about 10 dives to the wreck site of the Titanic, and we did an extra dive on an undiscovered reef that we found. Completely privately funded operation, and we're funded by, we call mission specialists, who help support the mission. So they take quite a bit of money to come and join us. Years ago, the Russians took tourists out to the Titanic, and it was just sort of a look and see thing. We really are focusing on the science around it.
So
we want to document
definitely
what the wreck is like now, and also try to predict what it'll be like in the future. It's continuing to decay, and it seems to be accelerating. It's being eaten by a bacteria, so it's literally being eaten by the ocean. It's not rusting away. So these things that are called rusticles are actually the byproduct of a bacteria that eats the iron. And as it does that, these decks are collapsing. The promenade deck continues to collapse forward. We saw some of the railing is starting to lose its structural strength, which is really a sad thing. That's when it's going to stop looking like the Titanic.
Dude, how do you start a business where you're like, there's a market for this. There's a market for just like really wealthy people that have enough money to go down to the depths and, like, you know, go see the mother Titanic. And it's like, it's enough. Like, you can make enough money doing this. I guess part of the reason why you can make enough money doing this is because, you know, you don't have the best safety protocols. But like, who even begins this process?
Definitely heard about the missing small submersible that had a bunch of rich people inside, a billionaire, a Pakistani multimillionaire, the CEO, the Pakistani multimillionaire's son, and I think there was one, I think it's 5 guys, and the guy who was like piloting it. And look, it's been a huge thing on the internet about like people joking about it, including myself, but not even talking about that right now. Just something that I want to say about it, which is the following. It is not lost on me that people will pull out a scalpel to make the most razor-thin distinctions on what is acceptable to say about it, like how callous people are being or how they're joking about it, in regards to some of the richest people on the planet effectively killing themselves like morons, but will give absolutely no grace or will not pause when talking about the experiences and problems and troubles and struggles of people that live in poverty, right? Last week, and this is just an example, last week off of the Greek coast in the Mediterranean, there was a capsized ship with over 500, somewhere in the ballpark, 500, 700 refugees. The exact number is not known. Over 500 of them are presumed to have drowned, men, women, and children, from refugees from Palestine, from Egypt, from places in North Africa, right? They are poor people at the very end of their rope with no other possibilities, who are just trying to survive. They want a better life for themselves and their families, and they have to risk it all. Could you tell me that happened? Was there a second of coverage on that, of over 500 people drowning, human beings? No. It has been...
Yeah, someone in the chat pointed this out, but it's a really good take. Same people that say homeless people are like drug-addled zombies completely fucking forget that, you know, rich people do drugs too, like all the fucking time, as a matter of fact. But when they're doing it for the comfort of their homes. You know, when they are addicted to drugs, it's not in your face. It's not as like, you know, it's not as disruptive, I guess. It's our perception of the matter. People immediately want to rush to be like, I have a principled stance on, you know, billionaires being spoken about like this, but they make no mention of atrocities that poor people face to get a better to get a better life for themselves, who are seeking a better future for themselves. Ultimately, I don't care about the fucking billionaire submarine situation. I didn't really cover it that much. I get why people are so callous and show indifference to life when it's when it's like a bunch of billionaires engaging in like the dumbest thing possible. You know what it reminds me of? This situation reminds me of a lot of people trying to tackle Mount Everest. Also a profoundly expensive endeavor. You have a Sherpa that basically holds your hand the entire fucking way, and yet people die all the goddamn time. And it's just like most people who are inexperienced, who are just going up there for a fucking photo. You know what I mean? Not talking about like experienced climbers who do this kind of thing. I'm talking about people who want to conquer the mountain. You know what I mean? Take a photo and basically showcase their accomplishments. You're just, I don't know, you're just fucking, like it's hard to look at how awful the world is and look at your own personal circumstances and then look to profoundly wealthy, profoundly fortunate people and recognize their humanity when they are objectively taking risks that are ridiculous. Obviously, opportunities that are completely unaffordable and completely shut off to the average person who would never even imagine themselves in a situation like that. And that's where the lack of humanity comes from. That's where people have a hard time recognizing the humanity of like these profoundly wealthy individuals. Cardi B submarine Suntae.
That's missing on the water from that submarine ship. One of the billionaires, their stepson, is at a concert, right? At a Blink 182 concert. And people is like, well, what is he supposed to do? Be sad at the house? Is he supposed to go look for himself? Yes. You're supposed to be at the house sad. You're supposed to be crying for me. You're supposed to be right next to the phone waiting to hear any updates about me. You're supposed to be counseling your mom and shit. Like, isn't it sad that you a whole billionaire and nobody gives a about you? Like, like you missing and motherfuckers ready to shake dicks at concert. That's crazy. I'd rather be broke. I'd rather be broke than like and poor, but knowing that I'm loved. Like, okay, so one of
There's so much going on here with this Attack on Titan filter. Like what the fuck is happening? Why is the Attack on Titan filter cupping her titty?